Yeah, we live, baby. We on decky, boys. We on decky, boys. Like Hideo Matsui, like Derek Jeter, Jason Giambi. You know them ones? Liquor boy. Yo, listen to me. Last night, me and my woman, we cried together. Said we cried, cried. We cried together. And then we made love. That's the preempting. No, I'm not even gonna hold you because that's gonna have significance into what we speaking today. Oh, let me hold you tight and wipe your tears away. On me, God is love. You wanna know how God is love? I did a thing, right? Let's just do a little spiritual exercise real fast. This is how you know for a fact that God is love. This is anecdotal evidence that God is love, right? You could take any R&B, any slow jam joint that really got a devoted passion of love. If you replace the subject in question, the subject at hand, replace the subject with God, I bet you it translate perfectly. I bet you it translate perfectly, bro, because he is love. On for them grave. On me. Okay. Today's talk, firstly, what's going on, y'all? We back live, baby. Today's joint is going to be another installment into our male mastery series where we are developing and evolving ourselves into kingdom-oriented men. Simple. The pruning, but actively though. Actively pruning. Like we're in the process with God. We're not just passively on the sidelines. Main character energy, right? So here's the next installment. And it's kind of going to, I wouldn't necessarily say piggyback, but it will segue off of last week's joint, right? Where it wasn't your fault necessarily, but it is your problem to deal with, okay? So where the Holy Spirit has led me to from that directive was a coined term, right? And that term is cup half full, but half empty too. On me. Now, for me personally, it's like before we even super duper unpack type shit, where does that even draw your mind to? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, where does that even draw your train of thought? So for me, it's like initially when I hear that sentiment, I'm already like piggybacking off of the idea that I've heard that statement so many times, but just not in that form. Like I've heard cup half full, but then I've heard cup half empty. Like you hear that, you know what I'm saying, paired together, but it's generally in reference to a certain perspective or adopting a certain perspective where cup half full is representative of like optimism or positivity, and then cup half empty would be indicative of, or it would rather it would represent. Sorry, I just ate. I got a little indigestion. Cup half empty would indicate like pessimism or negativity, but perspective based, like unto our lives, right? So we there's a familiarity with it. Like I've heard it to some extent, to some degree, just maybe not like that. You know what I'm saying? So hold on. Okay, so with that like premise noted, meaning like we've established like the origin or where we may have heard it before or where it's coming from. But then also on top of that, with that foundational structure, we could kind of ride our way into like, okay, so what's this other term? Like, what's this bigger term? Like, if I have an idea of this, then what, where was the writer or the author going with that thought? And I'm the author, so I'll tell you. So you gotta imagine, right? If it's cup half full or cup half empty, and then we usually extract that as a tool to interpret perspective onto a certain situation. Then you gotta think, if I'm saying cup half full but cup half empty too, that's interesting, because in that approach, what's happening is it's like, okay, we taking what we know cup half full, cup half empty to be, but then I'm bringing them together. There's this idea, or I'm not even gonna do that. The way we understand the term is like, it's powerful because it allows us to interpret perspective, but the thing is that the strength in the term is that they exist exclusively. Like they exist exclusive of each other. Like they're, you know what I'm saying? Rather than them being inclusive, and then we use that as an entire conceptuality to get a whole nother result out of, right? So let's break that down, because then you got these this conjecture where it's like words like, okay, so you got cup half full but half empty too. Like that's insinuating a thing. And then that but is really kind of saying what we saying right now, in the sense like, okay, we only ever approach it as like it's either cup half full or it's cup half empty. And then now, because in our journey of male mastery, in our journey of excellence seeking, knocking on the door so it can be answered unto us, seeking so that we could find along that journey, like I always say, we're going to be doing the above and beyond. Like that's a given. That's an absolutely given. The point is to be rare amongst rarity. The point is to be high amongst high men. Like it's not enough that you just in the room brushing shoulders with certain niggas. Like you want to be exclusive amongst the exclusive. You want to be rare amongst rare men already. You want to be great amongst great men. So study to show yourself approved, and then studying to show ourselves approved. That's what draws the line of separation. So I'm only saying all that to say, every time we get a thing, we never gonna get a thing and just sit with a thing. We always gonna get a thing and say, how I could dissect that further, how I could turn that up more, like how I could do something even more with that, like how I could take that to hold on, we're not finna do that. That's what we're not finna do. Also, if you hip, let me know where that ringtone comes from, and I'll cash up you something if you get it right. But yeah, we go above and beyond, because that's what draws the line of separation. That's what draws the line of separation, that you were not only willing but executed a thing perpetually that others were not willing to do. That creates you a character of separation. Oh God. Ugh, that's good right there. A character of separation, because you created a perpetual lifestyle based around separation. Why? Because you always doing the most, because you always going above and beyond, because you're always willing and able to do what others are not willing and able to do. And if you make that a perpetual lifestyle, eventually your character designates itself. It resides around separation frequency. Okay, let's continue. So you got this statement, yes, but then you have these conjoining words where it's like but and to. And then that but and to is insinuating that we already interpret it through an exclusive perspective, meaning like when we say cup half full, we only it's like a either or thing that's happening. It's a, is my life optimistic or is my life pessimistic? Is my approach optimistic or is my approach pessimistic? And what I'm calling us to is a higher degree of understanding, because through that same concept, we're going to take it a step higher and say, wait, dynamically, my cup is half full. Yes, it is. But in contingency with that, it's also half empty. Like I'm also operating through certain voids. I'm also operating through certain ineptitude, because the man who knows something knows that he knows nothing, right? So there's space enough for you to say, or there's allowance enough to say, okay, no, I am fulfilled in these areas. My cup is full in these areas. I am this in these areas. But then it's also so grown man, bro. It's so put on your big boy pants. Like, it's so grown man to say, that was kind of corny too, though. That was on some lame shit too, though. Like, I'm super empty here too, though. That's grown man. So that's really where we going with it. That's the premise, the premise of what's happening. That's the premise of what's happening. It plays on a duality of optimism and pessimism, but doesn't settle for either. It acknowledges both, right? So the thing that is calling us to is introspection. It's calling us to a perspective of introspection, because instead of it, like I was just saying, being this exclusive thing, now immediately, because of the way that we termed it, think about this, bro. Because of the way that we termed it, and it's no longer an exclusive thing, and we're saying, yes, cup half empty, but cup half full too, we're getting the fullness of everything. As opposed to just saying like, okay, cup half full, because this is how I'm interpreting this situation. So this very situation, I've allowed to be a cup half full situation. I've interpreted, I've analyzed it as being cup half full, even if that was a measure of gratitude or grace that I had to extend to the situation. Like, it might not have really been that, but because of how I interpreted it, now I'm looking at it as a positive situation. That's very fine and well. But what if we told ourselves, not even just in a specific situation, we just told ourselves generally, yo, yeah, my cups are half full. But then if my cups are half full, literally think about the words that we're saying. If a cup is half full, right? Let's say hypothetically the water was to right here. If a cup is half full, then at the same time, literally at the same time, we're saying that the cup is half empty too. The beauty in the perspective is that it's drawing us to focus on, no, I'm only focusing on where the cup is half full. So then I extract that level of positivity in our life. But now what I'm doing is not to lean into negativity per se, but I'm calling us to a degree of accountability. Because now if we take that same concept but then extract it on the entirety of our lives, we apply it to the entirety of our lives. Now it's this thing where it's like, damn, no, there are places where I'm excellent and there's places where I'm horrible. That's the spectrum of me. And we're not like willy-nilly with it. This is literally how we're not willy-nilly with it. We're not just saying it. We're not even just embracing it. We're actively doing something about it. All right, let's unpack. Let's unpack. Hey, let's unpack. Hey. Okay, so I did all of that. Sometimes you gotta watch for the hook with me. Oh God, you gotta watch for the hook with me, because I could be coming so left with the jab sometime. I could jab you down with that left so hard sometime. Pause, and come mean right hook, come mean right uppercut. And you don't even see the right uppercut. But in all reality, I'm using this concept, right? So in it coming to me and me sitting in communion with God and the Holy Spirit bestowing His wisdom on me, I'm breaking it down. I'm studying it now, like I'm extrapolating it now. And then it took me to a completely different area, and I said, "Oh God, that's good. That's good." It brought me to the area of fatherlessness. It brought me to the area of fatherlessness. It brought me to the area of fatherlessness. I'm saying that because, all right, I'm gonna just preface it or preface. I know there's somebody commented like, I know he did not just say preface. I'm Jamaican, so we pronounce something that just, proper, like things they always say like vegetable. You get me? Yankee them say vegetable. Yard man them say vegetable. You get me? You have enunciation upon the thing. But come, let me forward. So it brought me to fatherlessness, bro. And it brought me to this because God was really ready for me to concrete this as a concept, because this is a thing I've been chewing for years now. Like I would see a certain person, let's say like maybe after my therapy journey, or like in the midst of me like coming into a new form, like the metamorphosis, right? It's like once you start growing, this is a testament to your growth. Like once you start growing, it's not that you better than nobody either. Like don't take this as like you better than somebody, because that's when you get stink with your growth. Now you just a big pile of shit. Like before you was a tiny insecure pile of shit. But when you don't kill the ego, you gonna have increase, but you never made your flesh your slave. So now even with the increase, the ego just has more to have dominion over. And then you just become a nasty big pile of shit. And that's just not good. You want to be a big thing, but you don't want to be a big stink thing. Like, so being big is good. You want increase, but we do have to subside the ego and make it make it our slave, beat it into ours and into the submission that we want it in. So it's not that when you grow you just fucking just holier than thou and you just better than everybody. No, that's not it. But at the same token, when you start to grow, you start to see ineptitude for what it really is, because now that you can identify and highlight it in yourself, now you know exactly what it looks like in everybody else. Before, you didn't know what it looked like in yourself, so you were never able to identify it in others. But the second that you looked unto yourself and started to move forward in those directions, then now you could look unto others and see, you know what I'm saying, like, oh no, that's hurt. That's like you saying that, like you screaming at me and you doing that, but it's not me. Like, or you screaming at that person, or you at the bus stop acting a fool, but it's not because the bus is late. It's not because you late for work. It's not because your kid's doing it. It's not because that's real life hurt. Like, so I'm only saying that to say like that's setting up where a lot of this initial fatherlessness thing kind of set in my mind. So I would see a certain type of person, right? Where it's like I would okay, so let's just especially in our community, right? Let's hypothetically say, let's just think of a black male whom is let's say an adult. Let's say he's 21. He's a black male, and he didn't have his father, right? He didn't have his dad growing up. So you got this certain energy that comes with that, and we will unpack the whole joint to it, but you got the energy that comes with that, where it's like, man, fuck that nigga, like I ain't need that nigga, like fuck that nigga, like I don't need no fucking dad, like I don't need no. And I will always tell niggas this too. It's like you're not wrong when you say that, right? You dead not wrong. Like you actually not wrong. But the idea is two things, right? That I'm gonna say it and then we could really do the deep dive, right? So two things is occurring that should, it's a cause for pause. It should draw us to a higher degree of attention. So firstly, anything, like forget it just being your pops. Anything that somebody could just say a thing, a word, a trigger, a feeling, a vision, a sentiment, anything where somebody could just do a thing and that joint just draws a thing out of you, red flag. Immediate red flag. Because even if you feel like you're warranted in your reaction, like let's say somebody really did wrong you, so your reaction is warranted. Even if that's true, the way that you react when it happens to you, even with it being warranted, still is a cause for pause. So that's basically saying whether you got the right of way or not, you still gotta look both ways before you cross the street. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Is that either way, whether you have the right of way or not, it's still a cause to pause. So the essence of what I'm saying there is anything that brings you clean out of your character, just off a keyword or a feeling or a look or a vibe or a certain color or somebody got a certain name or they say a certain thing or they wear a certain thing or they got a certain perfume, is a cause for pause. It doesn't make us horrible people. Like, that's the thing you gotta sit with too. Like, you not a piece of shit because you got things in your closet that is just like, oh, let me sit with this real quick. Brody, you know that's everybody, Brody. Like, bro, you gotta sit with that, bro. Ski. And give grace unto yourself. That's how you get to the other side. Because the enemy come to steal, kill, and destroy, just come to do all kind of fool-nana. So if that's the case, he really wants you to be in the darkness of yourself, just like pacing in the corner, like, oh God, I don't know how to deal with myself. Like, he wants you in that spirit of dissension, in that spirit of less than, in that spirit of insecurity. He absolutely doesn't, like, he absolutely desires that for your life. But the idea is through grace, bro. I'm not even trying to be on no corny shit. Like, give yourself grace because you're a human being. And when you signed that contract and he said, boof, here you go, boom, immaculate conception, pow, like, and then you here now? Oh, you here now, baby. You here now, baby. I just said a prayer. I was just talking to this homeless guy. And it's like, I don't even like saying that like that. Like, I was talking to a guy named Frank, right? And Frank just so happens to be in between living situations right now. And it's quite hard on his circumstances. And he was a stranger, like we just start chopping it up. And I just start loving on him and gave him what I could and sowed into his heart. And just told him, like, bro, I'm praying for you. He's like, pray for me, bro. Please pray for me, bro. Like, please, can you please pray for me? I'm like, bro, I'm going to pray for you right now, tomorrow, and forevermore. I got you, big dog. You are on my heart now, brother. You're my brother now, brother. And I'm only saying all that to say, like, I'm not trying to be funny, but life is hard, bro. I wanted to cry for him, bro. I know what being disheveled feels like. I know what sleeping out of my fucking car feels like. I know what not having a place to go to feels like. I know what being abandoned feels like. I know what being left behind feels like. I know what fending for yourself feels like. I know what not knowing what today or tomorrow gonna look like feels like. So who am I, bro? Because I'm already existing through a grace that I don't deserve. I be doing stupid shit. Sometimes I be crashing out. I used to be deep in sin. All right. I'm done. But it's so absolutely true, bro. I'm talking about in the pig pen. Rolling around in mud. Stinking dirty ass. Get up. Get up. Ty, what are you doing? Get up. and bring yourself home, baby boy. You're the prodigal son. He said he was in the pig pen, then he came to himself, and then he went home. So you gotta come to yourself, bro. Like, what am I doing? And the idea there is that I'm living through a thing. So God got me here right now, and I'm not gonna hold you. I deserve to be here. I deserve to be here. I deserve to be here. If we was doing it 1-for-1 ratio, this is why I'm trying to tell you, you got to give yourself grace. I'm not here to be nobody's minister. I'm not on that. I'm not on that. If we did a 1-for-1 joint, and it was like, okay, Ty, all of the things that you did is right here, and then the judgment that you deserve for doing those things is right here. And then you see how my hands both like are mirror images of each other. Let's say if the bullshit that I did and then the judgment that I deserve for the BS was mirror images of each other. If that's the case, I'm talking about right here. Like I'm doing it right here because that's the lowest that the camera's gonna pick up. But I probably should be under the table in reality. But if I'm already living, if in the midst of the BS, like in the midst of me hearing the CO, like in the midst of my mom calling, like crying on the phone, and I'm having to like keep the frog in my throat, pause, because if I let a tear drop in this joint, it's the gauntlet, and it'll really go platinum. And it's like sharks in the water, they'll smell the blood. If literally in the midst of those spaces, on that block, on that corner, or on whatever, doing whatever, robbing, stealing, doing all kind of F-boy shit. And then he'll meet me right there and say, yo, come holler at me, boy. Like, come talk to me. Like, talk to me, what's going on? Like, what's on your heart? And then they get it right with me. Like, he'll correct it. Like, okay, this is incorrect in you, but I'm going to correct it, though. I got you, baby boy. I'm saying all of that to say I'm already living through a thing that I should not be existing through, right? I'm already living through a grace and mercy that I should not be living through. So who am I to ever fix any corner of my lip to speak out any one of them? No, I'm speaking from right here. I'll never speak out this side of my mouth. Towards who? No, Frank, what you need from me? Prayer, love, mercy, food, money, soup, a hug. So let's get back to the idea of what I'm saying. All of this is going to tie in. So you got this certain person where it's like I'm saying, like they got this energy where it's like, fuck that nigga. Anything that brings you outside of yourself is a cause for pause. That's the number one thing. Number two, I know that was a little tangent, but I needed to do all of that just to show you the propensity in things that bring us out of our character. Because if not for nothing else, it's so much that I can unpack with that. But with that one aspect, if not for nothing else, humble yourself before life have to do it to you. Like you choose or life gonna choose for you. So I'm calling you to humility. Because if life got to do it, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun, bro. It's not. Anything that's bringing us outside of character is a problem. Because we're called to be our highest selves. We're kingdom-oriented men. Literally designed. Intentionally and deliberately designed, bro. We exercise humility on the reg dag. On the reg dag. And then secondly, you absolutely right. You didn't need the nigga. You right. You got it. You right. Like you right. I'm not even saying that condescendingly. You were 100% correct. Because you here to tell the story, baby boy. So you correct in some aspects. And I want you to lean into that. Because you made it. But then to the same adage, okay, we got our big boy pants on right now. All right, let's talk about something real fast. To that same point, bro, we were designated to have a mother and a father. And because of his lack thereof, because of his ineptitude, because of his cowardice, or even maybe because of his circumstantial nature, or rather the nature of his circumstances, let me put it that way, he wasn't there. So everything that you were designated to have by way of exposure and doctrine and wisdom and experience and masculinity, all of these things that were supposed to be dropped down the chimney of you, dropped down the pipeline of you, you never received. And now because of his ineptitude, you live through life with your own ineptitude. And when we do all of these cute TikTok terms like generational wealth, but fuck heal. You never poured in, like forget healed. You never poured in the emptiness that your father left you with the responsibility of. Because you're right, you didn't need him, but you did need the things that you purposely having a father was supposed to bring you. So in you not needing him, it should be a theme that calls us to realize that everything that we needed from him, we give ourselves in every way. Not just like, oh, I got a job, I got a nice degree, I'm good. You need to intentionally sit with yourself and ask, what were the things I was supposed to receive by way of exposure, doctrine, loving, culture, character, masculinity, structuring, that I never got because I never was with him, because he never showed up, because he didn't do it. That's your responsibility. It doesn't mean that you just don't do it. And then now you operate through life as this like tucked in tail kind of man because you never put yourself in the gauntlet. All right, let's go in. Let's go in. Now we about to structure it out, flesh 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 it out. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, so this entire thing is going to come through the premise of presence, absence, and responsibility. Those three themes are going to prove themselves to be detrimental in the structuring of the concept that we're building. Presence, absence, responsibility. Okay, let me tell you a story about two brothers. Okay, so I'm telling you about the two brothers, right? So a subtitle that I have for the fleshing out of this concept is the undeniable void. So within the undeniable void, what happens is because we're operating through the premise of cup half full but cup half empty too, because we never sit with that cup half empty too and unpack it and dissect it and then allow it to pour into us as opposed to being the actual void. Because we don't do that, we operate through that. Because we don't do that, we operate through that. You see what I mean? So in other words, whether or not we decide to actually do the shadow work, the shadow's always following us. So if we don't become intimately aware of the shadow and embracing of its presence, then we operate through that shadow, whether realizing it or not, whether consciously or unconsciously. And that's the true devastation right there. So let's go into the story of the two brothers, and then we'll go further with that. So the two brothers, um, there's two. Let's say There's two brothers whom are sons to a alcoholic father. Like he's the whole 9 yards. He's alcoholic. He's abusive. He's, all of the things that come with alcoholism. He exhibits it within his behavior, right? So because of that, the sons have a level of exposure, right? Due to that fact. And through that level of exposure, they both interpret it and internalize it separately. They internalize it differently. It shows up in their life differently. Same father, like come from the same, you know what I'm saying? Come from the same pops, same two sons, they both brothers, right? Same family, same orientation, same culture, same exposure, right? Same toxicity, but the way that it internalized itself within the two brothers were different. So in that case, we could look at the two brothers metaphorically. Yes, it's a tale about brothers, but metaphorically, we can approach this as two options. Okay, so let's go further with that. So, due to the alcoholism exposure, right? Let's just say brother one, brother one, in his adult self becomes an alcoholic. He exhibits the very nature that he saw his dad exhibit and becomes a carbon copy, mirror image of his father. And then brother two becomes the polar opposite. He becomes the spectrum opposite. He's on the entire other side of the spectrum where he don't even use rubbing alcohol. You hear me? Boy don't even use rubbing alcohol. If he even see a bar with a neon sign, he gonna cringe. So I'm being funny, but I'm doing the thing where I'm illustrating how to his very core, to his very being, to his very existence, he literally has become the polar opposite. So he wants nothing to do with alcohol. He's a successful young man. He builds himself up. He just is the opposite, you know what I'm saying, of what he sees his father and his brother do. And a lot of that probably was consciously, but I promise you a lot of that was subconsciously too. Him tailoring himself into the brother who like is the polar opposite. And then that's how I'm saying, the undeniable void. Remember, I said keep that in mind. So the craziness in that, like the power in that concept, is look at how it takes shape separately. Like look at how it takes shapes. It takes shape two different ways, two separate ways, where because of the same level of exposure, one leaned into it so much so because it was all he knew, that whether consciously or unconsciously, he became a mirror carbon copy image of his pops. And then on the other hand, you got brother two, who, whether consciously or unconsciously, became the polar opposite of his dad because of the exposure to alcoholism. So, like I'm saying, there's a power in that, because we got to sit with that internally with ourselves and say, the undeniable void. How do we internalize the concept that there's things that are happening on a spectrum, and whether I want to embrace the spectrum or not, I'm going to be operating out of the idea of the spectrum. And I use the brother's example to show you that, like, okay, look at how it takes shape in our livity. Like, look at how it takes shape in our natural lives. Like, that's scary, actually. That's quite scary. So think about that, bro. Think about that, bro. Cup half full, but half empty too. Big, major. I just used that concept, that conceptuality, into a metaphoric tale. And that's why I said, think of the brothers as, yes, a tale of two brothers, but use it metaphorically as a parallel or an imagery of two options. It's an imagery, a narrative of the conceptuality that we've just developed. That's crazy. It's an imagery of the conceptuality that we just developed. Cup half full, but half empty too. So in a lot of ways, that's kind of crazy. In a lot of ways, we're both brothers in one person. To where because of certain ineptitude, we're operating through our cup half full and half empty too at the same time, simultaneously. And then because we're unconscious of the cup half full, or because we don't want to cater to the cup half, I apologize. Because we're not conscious of the cup half empty and we don't want to cater to the cup half empty, we subconsciously operate out of the cup half empty. And then now we doing shit that is not in alignment with our highest self. So think about this too. That's a tale of exposure for two sons who had their father, whether detrimental or not. Look at the power of exposure, whether detrimental or not, in the father's own right. We're not denying that he could, or that he was detrimental in his own behavioral self, in the way he showed up in their lives. We're not denying that. But look at the power of just exposure. This is what we mean when we say presence is a present. Literally, because they just could see their pops. They then had the option to be A or B. Speak to me about the son who didn't see his pops. So he doesn't even have the opportunity to come to certain terms and conclusions about ways he wants to develop himself to be, because he never even seen the himself that he wants to develop himself to be. Or similarly, or inversely rather, he's never seen the him that he doesn't want to be. He's never even had the opportunity to see the him that he doesn't want to be. Think about the travesty in that. Think about the tragedy in that. And then think about how even much more tragic it is that that same very son who is loved, who has intention over his life, who has a plan for his life, who has ordainment over his life, he just doesn't know his own promises for his life. Imagine the travesty in that. That now, because of earthly shit, because of worldly shit, he's living and operating through an ineptitude that he may never experience his fullest self ever. He may very well die, that man, that boy, because he's not a man. Until you sit with yourself, whether dad was there or not, and then you sit with yourself, and then you come to certain terms, and you then are the architect of self. You then are the architect of life, of liberty. Then you could get certain titles bestowed upon you. I was just having this conversation earlier. Some people get older and some people get grown. You get me? What I just said? Some people just get big and some people just get grown. Because you could have been 12, 13, 14, 15, and now big man. Oh, he must have he's eating dumplings and steak and potato and them thing there. So he's young, but he's a big man. But he's not a man. He's not grown. Getting older happens by nature. Being grown is an intentional choice. It's a decision. So that person may very well die, that version of himself, and never have activated the fullness of himself. This ain't a smear campaign, baby boy. It's just a heavy conversation that's going to activate the fullness of self. It's not a smear campaign. You deserve it. Because look at those 4 things that I just said. There's ordainment on your life. There's purpose on your life. There's plans on your life. There's intention on your life. There's love on your life. But because you don't know the promises of self, you operating through voids. Because you're not the architect of yourself on the Vitruvian man side. Nigga said, on the Vitruvian man side, on the Da Vinci side. If you're not designing yourself, because remember, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. What you think the importance of the Vitruvian man was? He showed you, like, look at how God is inherent in your design. Nigga did a case study on man. What? And then told you how God was in your design. What? Ain't no way. You deserve everything that you have coming to you. You deserve everything that you have planned for you. You deserve everything that you have intentionalized over your life. But we will never experience the fullness until we activate the fullness of self. You smell me, doggy bone? You smell where I'm coming from, doggy bone? Because remember, it's coming off. Yep. Because it's starting to get hot. Remember, all things that are seen come from those that are unseen. You smell me, doggy bone? And then your inner reality is what formulates and architects your external reality. And don't you ever forget that. So, like the beautiful Miss Lauren once told us in yesteryear, how you gonna win when you ain't right within? Brethren, come again. Come again. Come again. Guys, you better watch out. You better watch out. You better watch out. You better watch out. You better see it. You have to know them things there, brethren. How y'all gonna win if you're not right within, brethren? No. Come again. All right, come. But I just like to tie in seeds of bro, because it's light. It's heavy, but it's light, though. It's heavy, but it's light, though, baby. It's heavy, but it's light, though, bro. In comparison of all that you're about to be, in comparison of what the other side of the fence look like, baby, it's light, baby. Baby, it's light. In comparison of all that you are to be, as opposed to what you were to come from, baby, it's light. So it's heavy. It's got some depth to it. I ain't gonna hold you. It's got some brevity to it. I ain't gonna hold you. It's got a lot of capacity to it. I ain't gonna hold you. But in all that you're about to be, because you sat with the thing, you're gonna be like, yo, I should have been sat with the thing, yo. That's what I was letting torment me. That's what I was letting deceive me. Trick me clean out of my position. Come on, we got this. Let's go. So then, all right, you ready for this too? Because it's about to go even harder too, Paul. Hey, yo, what? What? Nah, you know why I'm reacting like that? I'm not even to be dramatical, not even to be extras. But, yo, I'm not even going to hold you, bro. I be working with niggas. I be having to check niggas like, yo, bro, what? Son. And then they, nigga time. And I'm from here with it. Like, boy, what you just said, boy? Son, you gotta have discretion with your tongue, bro. Don't just be letting nothing just slip out your mouth. Niggas just be saying all kind of crazy shit. Other day, I don't mean tangent, but other day, I'm at work. Boy, like, oh, our supervisor, cause they know I'm from New York or whatever, so they like to do the little cultural innuendos, like bodegas and blah 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 and jerk chicken and whatever. So, we're talking about it, and my supervisor wife from the towns too. So he stayed back and forth a lot because of his in-laws. So he telling me about, like, all the shit he know. I'm like, okay, my nigga hit. So we getting the Jamaican food, right? Why? So it's like a I don't know how it go, but it's like a supervisor then a manager, and then we all on the floor together at the same time. So then my manager, he gonna be like, nigga gonna say, yeah, pause it, cause I'm gonna pause it for the dumb nigga, right? He gonna say, oh, yeah, yeah, I love the oxtails because it's just like the sauce. You could just suck the sauce right off the bone. I said, boy, what the fuck you just said to me, boy? Like, were you good, my nigga? Like, cause you keep doing little funny shit like this. Like, this like the second or third time you done said some weird shit like that, bro. Why you doing that? You just could have said you like oxtails. You not Shakespeare. You don't gotta do all the adjectives, nigga. Doing all the extras like I'm your bitch. I don't be doing no extras for me getting all descriptive. You getting romantic. Don't be getting all descriptive with me, nigga. What? Yo, just say you like the food and then keep it pushing, bro. Because this how I know you so not hip. You talking to a yachty, bro. So you trying to relate being cool, but then you being wild fire for that while you trying to relate at the same, like, come on, bro. Stop being weird, bro. So that's why that's because I'm just in another land right now. And these niggas just operate in a different way. But it's definitely caused like a lot of reinforcement of my own character. And I know that's why I was like, I'm not trying to be dramatical, but the phase that I'm in, I'm on extras right now, bro, because sometimes you really gotta stand for something or fall for anything. And when you in a space, an environment of no backbone energy, you gotta have twice the backbone. Pause. So I just be extra like tactical about it. So I apologize for that. A little tangent. So let's go extras. Let's go to the next level. Let's add to the depth pause of the conceptuality that we drawing. So remember that we evoking the idea of the undeniable void. So here where it go even spicier. You gotta really think, bro. Speaking to that same black son who didn't necessarily have his pops growing up, let's go back to that like structure, that example. Excuse me. Bro, think about it, bro. Not only did he not have his pops growing up, and then that, caused the ineptitude that it caused already. That's a handicap. Ineptitude is a handicap. Let's keep that in mind. So when you think handicap, think crippled, think limp, think lame, think paraplegic, think wheelchair, think that, right? And it may be happening mentally or even emotionally, but still contextualize it the same exact way. So that's one handicap, right? Then now think about, because of the nature of the imbalance, it's another side to it too. The other side is that he's got a single mother that he's watching raising. That's the other side. So not only does he not have his pop, it's like, okay, so there's always gonna be a spectrum to a joint, bro. So that one decision when the pops wasn't there had a spectrum to it. So now his absence has an impact, but then in his absence, the mother now has to be pops and moms. The mother now, and not even just that, he's watching his mother struggle as a single mother to raise him. Certain sacrifices come with that. Certain Like even for the mother, certain psychological pressures come with that. Like so then now the way they love on their kids is altered. You know what I'm saying? The decisions that she making, the men she bringing around them, all of these like crucial decision making points that she probably shouldn't have to be deciding on her own about because it was designed for you smell me? And I know things happen. I'm not condemning anybody. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying that, okay, no, everybody has a structure. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not necessarily condemning anybody. But like if you were to ask me personally, like would it have been better for you if your mother and your father like were still together and they were in the same household? Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Like I dream of a life like that. Like I've never seen my parents romantically together ever in my life. It's always been like either co-parenting or quarrels. No in between. So if you were to ask me and I were just being vulnerable, yeah, I would yeah. So I'm not necessarily condemning anybody. And that's why I have to just wear my heart on my sleeve like that. Just to use my vulnerability as an example that I'm not, or as proof that I'm not condemning. Because truly, if I could have changed things and it could have been like that, then maybe. And I know we always deep on like, oh, if you could have did it differently, could you? Nah, I wouldn't, because it made me who I am. Like, and I'm convicted, or I believe that. I'm definitely like 10 toes into that belief. But at the same time, if you were to like, just draw the idea or give me the vision of like what that would look like, I don't know. If I wouldn't choose it, I don't know that I would say no, but it's neither here nor there. The idea is that I'm not necessarily condemning anybody, because we all go through things and then we all end up having structures, and then because of those structures we gotta make certain decisions and we just gotta do certain things, and we just end up a certain level of empty, and we have to deal with that. We gotta live with that, and that's okay. It's understandable. But I'm just sitting with the reality of what happens when we do that, or when that's okay, or when we're telling ourselves that that's okay, and we have to extract this amount of thing because it becomes a survival thing. So it's like I need this thing in order for me to stay afloat, because I'm already like right here in the joint, about to start creeping into my nose. It's about to be over. So if I don't do this thing, I'm not going to be back at neckline. And if I don't do this thing, I'm not going to be at chest line. If I don't do this thing, so it really does become this survival thing. But then in doing that, that son has to watch his mother go through and do a whole lot of stuff that alters him in more ways than one. Here's one thing it does. Watching him suffer pains him. So he becomes toxically, unhealthily, if I can use that word, unhealthily attached to his mom. That's where you get certain situations where the mother and the son seem like they're dating, and the only thing that they're not doing is having sex, because then that would be incest. But it's like borderline like romanticism. It's this very weird thing where she doesn't even necessarily have or pursue men in her life, because she's literally juggling that the prospect of pursuing a man and her son. She's juggling it. Like she's like, damn, but I don't want to give up my baby. Think about the verbiage. Doesn't it sound like she got a man already? Like she's cheating? So it becomes this very unhealthy, toxic relationship of attachment. Not that it's just bad love, but it's just a bad attachment. The love can be rooted in something good, like you love your moms, you know what I'm saying? You riding for your moms, you want to stand by your mom, that's beautiful. But then when it has that weird, nasty attachment, and you don't leave the nest until you 30, 35, 40, 45, and then when right, exactly. When you bring in fine shit over, she's sick as fuck because your mom's is upstairs. It's just a little shit like that. And it's not even all the time that he can't afford to live on his own. It's the unhealthy attachment, which probably is even worse. Because that's like that, nigga, you could get a job and get yourself together. Like to get that type of together, that's gonna take some unpacking, you know. So that's for one. That's just one aspect of the effects that it has on the son. Just this weird. I want to almost use the word nasty, but I'm not gonna be condemning. But it's just a weird. I could definitely use that word. It's a weird level of attachment because both parties are inept, plain and simple. And because of the mother's attachment and emotional issues, the son's got emotional and attachment issues. And because of the son's emotional and attachment issues, the mom's got emotional and attachment issues. And they're both not good for each other. Like they're both not helping each other. They're both just. Have you ever seen a structure like that? And they're both thriving? I've never seen a structure like that in there, but unless it's Jaden Daniels and his. She be on BS. You hear me? I'm about to tell my mom, like, Mom, this is how I need you to start coming. You got to start vetting on for them graveside. I'm not choosing. I'm not even doing the choosing no more. I'm not. I'm about to just start making my mother my everything. You are the filtration system. You know me better than anybody. So you know what's up. Then I'm going to give you an archetype. And then you could just run with the archetype. And then, when the sower starts sowing the seeds. Some got choked out by the thorn. Some of them things got choked out by the thorn when you start sowing them seeds. But some landed on good soil, on me, on foreign them grave. Some of them landed on good soil. I'm about to just tell her, like, you the filtration system. So outside of Jaden Daniels, I've never seen an example where the mother and the son got that super duper almost weird joint, but it's positive. I've never seen it. I'm talking about she be on hammer. Like, no. If she can't do this right here, then shorty too close to her son. If she can't bust her Joan right here, then you too close to my son. You bugging out. That's $100 million man right there. You bugging out. Excuse me. She's coming in like Moses. She start parting Red Seas. Excuse me. My son's about to walk through. Excuse me. Yeah, no. This seat right here, I need 3 seats down. Y'all seen the joint with Juju Watkins? She said, yo, you seen her face? Yo, son. I'm not saying it can't be healthy mom and son relationships. That's not what I'm saying. She ran down on Juju. She said, shorty girl, you don't know my name. I'm Mama Daniels. You tweaked out. You got to pack up. Huh? Who told you? Huh? Nah, you not good over here. Matter of fact, go get me some popcorn. And a Coke. You smell me? You're not good over here. Outside of that, toxic. Straight toxic. Not healthy for either party. They're both not good for each other. He run into the store for her to get her cigarettes and shit like that. Like, it's shit like that. It's little shit like that. Okay? So then you also got to think, too. This is where it's about to go filthy. You going to predicate that same toxic relationship with your moms or rather you gonna base how you deal with women off of how you predicate that relationship with your mom. Bro, that is crazy to think about. Down to the women you choose, how you choose them, how you talk to them, what you do when you with them. On me. And she wants you to respect her. But she damn sure do not want you to be treating her like Mom Dukes. That's weird. You're not sexing your moms, bro. Like, come on, just be plain, bro. There is a level of romanticism that your woman experiences that your mother would never even fathom seeing that side of you, bro. But here you are unconsciously treating said woman who really want her to, she wants you to, round one's easy. Can we? No, I'm gonna chill. All things unto the kingdom. But she don't desire that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a certain thing she needs from you as a man. You smell me, and not even on the sexual side, but off the masculinity tip, the thing that you exude off your very being, she needs and craves that from you. She needs and craves that from you. And you approaching her like Mom Dukes is not, it's not correlating with the thing that she needs from you. So then when y'all laying down, but she giving you this right here with the stink face, and okay, you better act like you know something, not like you owe something, because if you owe something, they gonna try to hold something. I already told you that. Act like you know something. It tailors this. Remember, I told you undeniable voice. So whether consciously or unconsciously, you cannot fathom why shorty girl not giving you no play. I'm talking about you give her your all. Like, you paying all the bills, you doing you bringing roses and you bringing coffee and you doing this and you doing that, and she's still acting like a hooligan. On me, your heart posture and your mind posture. But if you're not conscious of either and you're operating through the undeniable void, you're going to start getting undeniable results. Matter of fact, if you operating through the undeniable void, you're going to start getting undesirable results. That's it right there. When you operating through the undeniable void, you're going to get undesirable results. Can I tell you that my life changed for the better once I sat with the void? Me and the void is this now. You want to know why? Because it's fulfilled. Now, what was once a void, I'm swimming in. On me. That's not a brag. That's not a brag. That's just example. All things unto God. It can happen if you take yourself serious. If you stop playing with yourself, literally and figuratively. Silly boy. God loves you, bro. Activate yourself. It's heavy in the sense that it's painful and it's hurtful. But bro, remember we were just talking about it's not your fault, but it's your problem to deal with. Because you deserve the ultimacy of yourself. If not for anything else, bro. If not for nothing else, you deserve to live in the ultimacy of yourself. Rather than have died never experiencing it. No, that's making my heart break for you. So you know what? I'll bear the burden of the heavy conversation. As long as you can just sit with me. And you don't gotta believe it. It don't even gotta be your truth. All I'm asking is that you consider it. I don't even want you to necessarily believe it. If you hear with me, you hear with me. If you get it, you get it. If you believe it, you believe it. But if not, just consider it. Just consider that all of you is on the other side of your void. And the only thing that we're doing right now is contextualizing where the void is for a certain person. And if being fatherless, especially, it's like, okay, let me say a thing though, actually. The Holy Spirit just instructed me to say this. It's like I could have the conversation about Ronald Reagan. Stay with me. I could have the conversation about Ronald Reagan, right? I could have the conversation about war on drugs. I could have the conversation about oppression on the Black American. I could have the conversation about um, governmental assistance and the demasculinization agenda against the black man in America. I could have that conversation. I could have the conversation on the implementation of removing the fathers from the black home and then giving the mothers government assistance. I can have that conversation. I can have that conversation. I'm deliberately choosing not to because I want to have this conversation. Because whether or not it's like I could give you all of these cute pearls, but what you gonna do with cute pearls and you in the pig pen? I need you to come home. That's what's happening here. It's like if I give you all of these, like all of this nice information and all of this nice data, all you're gonna be able to do is tie in why Pops wasn't around. Like all of this cool, like fight the power, like yeah, nah, we need that. You absolutely need that. But at a certain point, now what, you just an angry black man, even more towards your father? When in reality, I'm calling you just to heal and grow clean of it. Like now you've grown so much that you just like you just grown so you used to be small compared to the thing. You used to be small compared to the thing. Now you've grown so much, you just there's so much capacity within you that things aren't crammed inside of you just hurting and squeezing their weight, like squeezing your heart out, squeezing your mind out, choking your goddamn mind out. Now you've grown to a level of vastness so much so that it can reside there. And it doesn't register hurt. I don't like it's not like healing is not like I gotta sweep under the rug certain traumatic experiences that I went through in my life. No. I gotta talk about the traumatic experience right now and say, yo, that was wild that I almost died. Like that was wild that I was here, there, and everywhere. That was wild that I was moving like that. That was wild that I was, That was wild I ain't get, That was wild when they was, and then I had to, and I ain't get. That was wild when my mans got hit and we were supposed to go out that night. That was wild my mans got jumping. We were supposed to go out that night. That was wild. Then I gotta look at this nigga face when he come back. Or come on, man. We end up operating through this the very voice, but then where it tailors itself nastily is that it shows up in our relationships, bro. So you can't even really get on your, you smell me? You can't even get on your ladies love. On your ladies love Cool J son. Because you just cower. You like Eeyore. You know how many men I see all day? They just a bunch of Eeyores. You just an Eeyore. Like that's like an archetype of man. Like, yo, you gotta activate, Brody. All right, so let's tie it all in. Let's tie it all in. That's what I was saying though. It's like I could have that conversation about why the black father is not in the situation because there's a literal agenda. Because things don't just happen. Everything is by design, right? But what I want to do is pour into the person who's experienced and lived through that void all of their life to bring them to a level that's so much higher that they just, and it's not that we can't have that conversation at a later date, but the way that it's tying in, especially to it's not your fault but it's your problem, this is the conversation we need to have. It's about you, Brody. It's about you, not what agenda is against you, not the ineptitude you got to experience as a certain person in a certain place. Like, it's about you. That's what I'm calling you to. There's a bunch of brilliant men on this planet, especially in America, that are of my descent, of my color, and have that conversation for you. Have it. This is the conversation that God is calling me to deliver. About pouring in, about emphasis on self, about in any environment, whether I'm in a lion's den, whether they throw me in a furnace, whether I get locked up, whether I'm getting shot at, whether I'm still me. And I'm always going to emphasize me. And I'm always going to lock into the idea that it's not my fault, but it's my problem. And the only common denominator that all of my problems have in common with each other is me. That's what I'm here to say. So it's not that I can't have that conversation. We can have it. We will. What I'm calling you to is emphasis of self. Activate yourself, because that's what you deserve. Done to me, I can't really explain it. I'm so into you. Hey, you gotta start singing to yourself. You better be into you. You gotta be into you. On me. On me. Don't you wait for nobody to sing to you. You deserve love, King. Okay, here we go. Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up. Okay, let me give you like the written, verbiage, the verbatim that I have. Here's where it gets deeper. If he was raised by a single mother, all he ever saw was her struggle. That was his foundation. That was his reference point for everything, including his relationships with women. Even if he doesn't mean to, he may carry that into adulthood. He may approach women from a subconscious place of trying to protect them, trying to compensate, or on the flip side, he may resent them. You see that. You see that. It's not that he's gay. It's not that he's homosexual. He'll still, want the opposite sex. But he doing weird activity unto the opposite sex because of his own resentment to his own mom. We see that. Like his mother used to beat the shit out of him. Now, you know what I'm saying? He domestic with his girl. Or he's insecure because of how his mother loved him. So now he be like real overprotective about like his girl. He be just popping up on her doing weird fucking stalker stuff. I'm just saying. Like things like this don't happen. And then we look at it and he's like, he's so crazy. He's so crazy. Like, why he act like that? Girl, why he act like that? Girl, he's so crazy. And in reality, the nigga really dealing with real life hurt. That's not an excuse. I'm saying the roots create the fruits. That's all I'm saying. The roots create the fruits. So instead of like interpreting it as this surface level thing, like, girl, what the fuck is wrong with him? Bro, look deeper. And then if you start being keen with looking deeper, you could have looked deeper off the rip and knew that that's exactly where his surface level was going to take you to. Cry, cry, we cry together. All right, come on. So, in closing, guys, the responsibility to fill the void. Remember, I told you presence, I told you absence, and then now responsibility. The responsibility to fill the void. So what do you do with this? What do you do when you realize you were given half of what you needed? You pour the other half into yourself. Amen. The truth is, even though it wasn't your fault, it's still your responsibility. Oh, didn't we hear that somewhere before? It's not about blaming the absent father. It's about making sure you don't become a man operating from emptiness. You smell me, doggy bone? That's all. That's all we saying. Because it's about you. And I'm not saying like, shame on you, shame on you. I'm saying, no, it's about you. Like, your life is about you, baby boy. Your life is about your turn up. Your life is about your expansion. Your life is about your kingdom building. Your life is about your kingdom orientation. It's your life. So you don't deserve to be burdened by any baggage, by any bad fruit that were bad seeds that were sown bad that are now bearing bad fruit. You don't deserve none of it. Cast it all away. We cry together. We cry together, baby boy. Yo. And then all right. Because the reality is, if you don't heal it, you'll pass it down. Bro, like I could have went further right now, bro. Like I could have gave the rest of the notes right now and then talked about it afterwards, but I'm not gonna do that, bro. Because that one very statement, brother, brethren, that one very statement was so heavy, brethren. We gotta sit with that. Son, that joint makes me want to cry, bro. No, I'm not laughing no more. I'm not playing. Like that joint really makes me emotional, bro. I'm not even gonna hold you, bro. Like I really feel myself welling up, bro. We gotta be better, bro. We gotta be better, bro. We always gotta be better, bro. We always gotta cast it out, bro. We always gotta be better. You know how much it, bro. Son, I pray about this shit heavily, bro. You know how much it, like, oh my God. To know that, like, son, the sin that I don't get right, the understandings that I don't get right, the ineptitude that I don't get right, the hurt that I don't get right, bro, the shame that I don't get right, bro, the grief that I don't get right, bro, that I don't get right within me, in my own right, in my own life, the joint that I don't get right within my own life, I pass it down. They experience the same exact thing. Let me call you to the first brother. Come on, no. I ain't even tell you how grandpa used to be wilding back in the day. And that's why Pops was wilding. And then now that's why first brother is wilding. I didn't even tell you that part. My bad. See, now I'm just drawing it out because it fits this example as well. Yo, bro, dad, like Pops didn't have to be a drunk. Like he didn't have to do that. Like dad didn't have to abandon me. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that. He could have got it right. He could have made different decisions. He could have made his own flesh, his own slave, and he would have genetically passed me down the spirit of endurance. He would have genetically passed me down the spirit of comeuppance. He would have genetically passed me down the spirit of repentance. He would have genetically passed me down the spirit of casting out. Because in his own life, he would have been shaping his own character to be that very thing. And then when he bore seed, that seed would have been that very thing. Because every action that we make, this is scientifically proven. See, I'm not a like God versus science guy. I'm not him. I'm God with science guy. That's who the fuck I am. So even in science, it's proven that chain, that staircase, that staircase of DNA, every action, every thought, every feeling, every decision, every conviction, every evolution, every transmutation that we undertake in our own lives is influencing the very state of the DNA. And when we bear seed, the seed inherits that very DNA. And the things that I don't correct in my own self, the things that I fall short of in my own self, the things where I miss the mark in my own self, my children are going to experience that. I mean, even in the small things. Sometimes I'll just like, let me text my dad. Because I don't want my kids to get the spirit of like, you know what I'm saying? Like contingency or like, conflict with their parents. Like I want my children to inherit a spirit of reach outing. I want my kids to inherit a spirit of, hey dad, I love you. Like, oh yeah, my son gonna love on me because I be loving on my dad. I said, Dad, you a knucklehead, but I love you still. He a knucklehead, bro. Like, you gotta give him a noogie. I love my dad so much, bro. It's not even funny, bro. It doesn't matter what he does. Like, you are forgiven. Always. And even in that, a thing that I learned is like not to do this, but like not to like, tangent, but he grows in that grace. But if I'm always condemn, nobody grows, bro. That's shrinking. That's capsizing. That's dang, Ty, like dang. Dang, you playing it tight, ain't you? But then when it's grace, love, that don't just mean, but still grace, love. Yo, my dad, oh my God. I'm seeing my dad I'm seeing us just like, whoo. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get so crazy about that, but that joint, a common prayer for me. God, please help me to get it right, bro. Please, bro. Because I know everything that I don't get right, bro. That's when you really start, you really got to start holding yourself accountable. You really got to start being responsible now. Because even before there's another person, you thinking for the other person. Before there's even another relationship, you're thinking for the relationship. So you praying over the spouse that you're developing yourself in the man that is prerequisite for her. Oh shit, damn, that was cold. Dang, that was kind of cold. Wow, that was kind of dope. Like you praying over that in advance. You praying over the child in advance. Your works, remember, it's faith and works, not one by itself. One by itself is gonna die. This one by itself is gonna die. Did he do it? Works. That's when we want to emphasize works. Then now you did it. When you do faith, I don't know. I'm gonna give you an example, but I don't have it right now. But you need both. That's the point that I'm making. You can't just be this believe person. Oh, you know what faith is? Remember the example I gave you where you had the person who they drowning and then God sent them 3 different sources of a lifeline? And he could have got air flighted out, he could have got lifeboated out, and he could have got life jacketed out. And he didn't choose any of them because his his emphasis was like, I'm gonna wait for the Lord to come save me. Then he gets to heaven and then sees the Lord, and he's like, yo, bro, you're a silly man. Faith without works is dead, and now you're dead. That's faith by itself. You smell me? You need both of them, bro. And I know that the works that I'm doing that's not unto the kingdom. Oh my God, bro. My kids are gonna. That's when it start getting real, because you start living for something outside of yourself. It's not about you no more. That's real grown man shit. Pick your pants up. Pick your pants up. Talking about king. That's grown man timing. That's grown man timing. When it's like, oh, I'm not even living for me, I'm living for Frank. Remember I just told you I was living for Frank? You thought I was playing, and I was dead about to bust a whole cry in here. Life is real life, bro. Life is real life. This shit is real. It's real. We could do the whole I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. I know. I said it. But this life shit is real. And it feels so real. Like when I touch this, I can feel my desk. So it's not just like VR. Like this is VR on crack. Like, this is VR on crack. Like, I'm dead seeing myself in the computer. Like, that's a fleshly body existing. You know what I'm trying to say? This joint is VR on crack, bro. So yeah, spiritual beings having a human experience, a physical experience, but we are still having a human experience, and it's hard. It's hard. This life shit get to life in, bro. And there's just things that we have to get right, bro. If you a sucker, you gonna raise a sucker, bro. What nigga Ye say? He said hating niggas marry hating bitches and have hater kids. Lame niggas marry lame bitches and have lame kids, nigga. Demonic niggas marry demonic bitches and have demonic kids, nigga. Kingdom men marry kingdom women and have kingdom children. Disciplined, tailored, evolved men attract disciplined, tailored, evolved women, and then create disciplined, tailored, evolved children. Wow. That's how we advance humanity, not chips in our brain. By teaching your child how to apologize when they're wrong. By teaching your child how detrimental lying is to our psyche. Teaching our children the seeds that we sow. And then also sometimes putting belt to ass. Don't forget that part. Just sometimes. Like, you gotta sit with that, bro. That's heavy, bro. The things you don't get right, you're going to pass it down. That's a wake-up call. If not for nothing else, like, if it's not like, okay, I want my body to look a certain way. If it's not like I want my skin to look a certain way. If it's not like I want my arms to look a certain way. If it's not like I need my mind to look a certain way. I want to sound a certain way when I speak. I want to look a certain way when I just. If none of those bring you forth unto conviction, you think to yourself that you will bear seed upon a time, and when you bear seed upon a time, the things you don't correct in your own time, you're now impeding on somebody else's time because of your own BS. Like, they got their own life to live, but then now they got to deal with joints that you're passing down to, that I'm going to pass down to my son because I ain't want to get it right with me. Because I wanted to be selfish and crash out. And you smell me? Black out. And be just in the pig pen. I'm not gonna give any examples. Nigga, I'll be in the pig pen too, bro. I'm not perfect, bro. I'm figuring it out. That is what I'm doing. And documenting it. And as much as I've figured out is what I've mastered. And as much as I haven't grown is where I need tailoring, bro. Cup half full, but empty too. I'm not too far from reproach, baby boy. Come on, let's continue. Let's finish this up. It's getting quite late. If you don't fill the void, you'll live through it. If you don't acknowledge what's missing, you'll never be whole. Oh my God. There's so much implication. Excuse me, I apologize. There's so much scriptural implication with that very statement, but I'm not even going to bust your head with that. I'm not even going to do all of that. Think about the heaviness in that statement. If you don't acknowledge what's missing, you'll never be whole. On me. Cup half empty, cup half full. Why can't just be the whole cup is full and then fulfilled and then it's overflowing? Why can't just be that? Why can't just be that? Why you ain't give me the third option? Why was that not an option? Why was that not an option? Why it had to be boom or boom? Why I can't be full, filled, full? I'm filled, full. I'm full of fill. Why can't I be fulfilled, and then still pouring in so much because the pouring just becomes perpetual? That is so perpetual. I started from the bottom, and then I'm started from the bottom now, yeah. Then you here with it now. But you never stop pouring in. And you can't overflow a vessel that's not fulfilled to begin with. Hear me now. You can't overflow a vessel that's not fulfilled to begin with. And you being fulfilled, now you here, you pouring. Now it's overflow. What they call the people out back. They're not necessarily in the pulpit, they're not necessarily in the pews, but they're not out of the church. They hearing the sermon just like you are, but they're not necessarily in this seating because there's no more seating. Where do they call that area? What do they call that area? They call it overflow. Yeah, all my saints sitting in the overflow. What do you think they call it that for? Because everything that's unseen is what formulates the seen. So you already operating through vessels that have ineptitude. You already operating through vessels that have fulfillment. You already operating through vessels that have overflow. So if that's already a thing that's happening in your spiritual self, this is it taking place in the physical realm. What does that look like? A church. This is not the only example, but I'm saying let's just use it as an example. Physically, you got a church. You got the pews, you got the pulpit, you got the structuring, the architectural structuring of what a church or cathedral looks like, right? Then you have, when it's excess, when there's too much people for this space to sit in, or if there's people with children that want to sit back here, if there's people with elderly, if there's people with this, there's people with that want to sit in a more accessible area, a more easier area that got space, we call that the overflow. So when the capacity overflows, there's a designation for that area. So if we don't sit with what's not there, we can never pour in what's not there. Therefore, we can never be fulfilled. And furthermore, we can never overflow. Because that's when it starts turning up. You don't see results until you hit overflow stage. That's where you get in the manifestation wrong at. You think that God's not hearing your prayers. That's the problem. You think that I got looking like this off a couple curls, nigga? I've been beating my body down for years now, bro. Whooping it, bro. I was actually looking at some pictures of myself earlier today from a couple years ago. I said, damn, Ty, I love you, bro. Ty couldn't even believe he was walking around like this. I couldn't even believe you was walking around like this, baby boy. But when you know better, you truly do better. And now that I'm in better, ain't no way I'm gonna let you down. I'm not gonna let you down, baby. I ain't gonna let you down. You worked hard to get here. You know how many years I've been beating my body down, bro? Getting it in. So this is the thing. Yes, the inner does formulate the outer, but the way that it structures itself is that, and I've got anecdotal evidence, you know me, don't play with it. The way that it structures, the way that it formulates itself is that it's literally how I just said, vessel, empty vessel. You deplete all of you, God gonna pour all of him to the brim. You smell me, doggy bone? When he pour all of him to the brim, he's going to continue to pour him, even when it's to the brim. When that happens, it's overflow. When it's overflow, it spills into reality. Here's my proof for that. You remember in like 2nd, 3rd grade in science, they gave us the baggie with the seed and the paper towel, and you used to have to moisture the paper towel, and you was literally watching the germination process of the seed. That was fire, wasn't it? That was fire. I don't know about if y'all like stuff like that. I was like, nah, this is crazy, bro. What? Or when we did the butterfly joint, did y'all do the butterfly joint? And you seen the whole metamorphosis? Oh my God, when my son, bro, when I came in the classroom one day And then he came out the cocoon. Bro, my heart was, it's like I was heartbroken. I'm like, bro, no, bro. It's like, I don't know why, but it's like I registered it as him dying. I don't know why. I just was so sad, bro. Like, no. But he was good though. Shout out my nigga, Butterfly Jones. But yeah. So the germination process. You put the seed in good soil, right? Let's say that it's tilled, so it's already got area enough for the rooting process to happen, right? Because if that's not the case, then there's more process that's gonna have that. Is the seed's gonna have to get into the space of, because you can't just put a seed on the top of the soil and then it's gonna work. It's not gonna work like that. It has to be in the soil, buried in the soil. Ain't that crazy though? Because are you planted or are you buried? Ooh, that's a whole different conversation. I heard TD say that one time. He like, the burial process and the planting process is the same exact process. Oh, nasty. So are you being buried or are you being planted for your revival, for you to break through the soil as a better thing when you went down? Obviously, there's implication there. We're not gonna do the extras. I'm just saying, in your own life, are you the thing that's rooted in you in your season, so that you could do that crazy breakthrough, and then now you the plant coming through, or are you RIP? You smell me? So all in all, I think that's really, really, really big, because that's perspective, bro. And remember, we're kingdom-oriented men. What does that mean? That we are extracting God's promise out of our lives, and we're approaching with the utmost urgency, efforts, and intentionality our highest, best versions of ourselves. That's exactly what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing. So how are we going to experience the fullness of ourselves if we don't? Exactly, bro. That's all I'm trying to say. We're empty here, and if we never embrace that we're empty here, we can never get to the point of pouring in something new, because we got to do it. Nobody's going to come do it for us. Grown man shit. Like grown man shit, bro. Nobody's going to come do it for us. It's turn up season. It's activation season. There is a call unto your life. Things like this don't just happen. Information like this don't just happen. Wisdom like this don't just happen. You don't see videos like this for no reason. It's a call, bro. Like, come on. So all in all, fellas, I know we got the group, and I know we kind of already locked into certain things, but I just recently been seeing just a higher call for us, bro. I've been seeing a higher alignment for us recently, and it's taking one step back to take a jump leap forward. And what we got to do also is recontextualize what we believe taking a step back to be, because taking a step back, not a bad thing. Who's to say that you was already walking down a journey, a path that you wasn't supposed to be on? You was already making decisions that you wasn't supposed to be in. And now you need conviction in those decisions. So with that conviction, you're going to realize, if I take a step back and reanalyze, if I take a step back and reinitialize, I could, we literally use that phraseology. We say, let me take a step back and let me fall back. Let me take a step back and see it from a different perspective. That's all that we doing. So taking a step back, not necessarily a bad thing. It's taking a step back so we can analyze and see. You visually have to see the vessels. I look at it like this thing. It's like my dad has these these tats. It's like a Mount Rushmore across the chest. And I kind of envision vessels in the same way, where it's like you have different capacities right here, right? And they're just like, you got emotionality, you got spirituality, you got mentality, you got this dality, you got principality, you got tentatality, you got diddle-daddly. You got all of these different vessels, and they are all aspects in which we live our lives through. They all conglomerate into our reality. All of those things combine into one thing, and then that one thing is the reality that we live into. So all we doing is calling to the idea that it's just some emptiness in there. And hey, guess what? It's not your fault, but it's your problem. I love you, bro. I love you. God's calling us to something higher. Let's lock in. Kingdom men. On me. Let's go.